Hello there guys, Elita Legionarii here, and today I'm bringing you, it's more of a 1v1 for Medieval 2 Total War, but it was like on the screen it shows as a 2v2, but I was teamed up with Swedish Landsknecht, but his opponent became like an AI because we had to drop him, so this is just like a 1v1 scrap between myself and PaladinBob. So it's more like a 1v1 in this sense. And of course, you may know why I'm going to kind of do quite a bit of work with Rome and Medieval because of gamespy shutting down. I think I've talked about it a few times. Now that doesn't necessarily mean they're gone for good. From what I understand, you might be able to keep playing them if you use something called Game Ranger or something like that. I'm not too familiar with the stuff myself, but I'll settle for just about anything as long as I can keep playing the multiplayer. So I don't necessarily know if they're gone for good, but I'm putting out plenty of videos just in case they are. I'm just going to quickly pause this while I outline the armies. I'm playing as the Byzantine Empire and Bob is playing as the Papal States. My army consists of, I believe it was, 5 units of dismounted Latin good solid sword infantry. Should make up most of your sort of standard infantry for the Byzantine because it is their best infantry unit in my opinion. Then I have, I believe it was, 5 units of Varangian Guard. Now I would not usually bring this many Varangian Guard because they're two-handed units, and of course two-handed units in Medieval 2 are glitchy in the base game. So I wouldn't normally bring them, but I do have a plan for them, so that's why. And then I have 2 units of Byzantine Spearmen out here. I have a General's Bodyguard, 2 Alan Light, I think it's 2 Alan Light Cav. Where are the other ones? Okay, 4 Latin Con. Okay, it's only 1 Alan Light Cav. This is an extremely good piece of light cavalry though. It always does me well every time I use them. And yeah, the 4 mounted Latin Con. So that's my army. Bob's using the Swedish Landsknecht's Swiss Guard build. To be honest, this is not really a good map for him. And they're more of a defensive use, and I know Bob's a defensive player, so that's probably why he liked the idea. But I'm going to have the advantage on a map like this one, and it's going to be more in my favour. So he's got 4 of those. Then he's got for cavalry, he's got 3 Knights Hospitality, a General's Bodyguard, and 2 Mounted Crossbowmen. He's got 4 Puppies Crossbowmen. Then the infantry, he's got 2 Papal Guard and 2 Men-at-Arms. So let's not muck around and let's get going. I'm going to rush Bob because I don't have any missiles. My army's rush. I won't bother outlining Swede's army and the Venetian player because the Venetian's AI and Swede's just going to kill an AI, so it's not much fun for Swedes. So his Bob brings up his mounted crossbowmen here. He's going to try and skirmish away. I'm mostly just going to ignore those. I'm just going to focus on trying to bust my way through his army. So we're trying to get the high ground here. I should be able to seize it before Bob because my army's a wee bit more mobile than his one. And my Latin Con will be able to defeat his Swiss Guard as well. However, Swiss Guard, being Swiss Guard, will have a high defense and will be able to hold my guys out for quite some time, I should suspect. Nice close-ups there. So I decided to rush him here. He does intercept me with his Papal Guard there, but it does allow me to get right around his flank here and get his skirmishers and come in behind him and outflank him. And while this is happening, I'm able to use my Varangian Guard to get around behind him. Now Varangian Guards to get around behind his line and help in any cavalry fights. I wouldn't usually use as many as I'm using here, but it's very useful this way. So I'm trying to make sure Bob's cavalry is unable to assist his infantry because they have to assist his infantry because his infantry is not going to be able to withstand my infantry. It'll hold it up for a while for sure, but if he can't use his cavalry to assist, then he's not going to be able to win. So all I'm doing is trying to make sure his cavalry is running away, and I'll use my Alan Light Cav and various other light cavalry pieces and stuff to kind of support this fight because Byzantine cavalry should outclass Papal cavalry for the most part. Byzantine cav's not super great. It's decent, but it's not super great. But I can encircle them here, as you can see, and keep them busy. And while this is done, I'm going to use my General for hammer and anvils and my Varangian Guard for encirclement, because that's where Varangian Guard will be good in the flank. So I get into the flank of these dudes here. As you can see, it does a nice amount of damage, and his Swiss Guard, as solid as they are, will not be able to hold up against this kind of pressure. So they're getting destroyed. Over here, this is what you don't really want happening with your Varangian Guards, getting them clumped up in a long, protracted melee fight. I don't stay in this for too long, and I keep moving. As you can see, I'm getting in behind his lines here, and that's doing plenty of damage. Over here, as you can see, even though I'm actually fighting a lot of disadvantaged situations with my cav is for the most part better than his cav, so I'm able to risk that. And I got my general and I reserved him for later, although Bob has done the same, but I have another Latin con in reserve to make sure that doesn't happen for too long. And now you can see Bob's outflanked by my Varangian guard, some of my Byzantine spearmen, and I've used it. I can use my Varangian guard too to stop him from outflanking me at the same time. So you can use them for that kind of purpose, but don't use them as core infantry, and try not to get them into too long and protracted melees. Use them in charges, because that's where they'll do good. But Bob's infantry is outclassed, and his cavalry's slightly outclassed, but he does have that missile advantage, but he's unable to implement it on a map like this one because of how rush orientated this map tends to favour. I can't even remember who hosted this game, it was ages ago. Let's do you guys some nice close-ups. But as you can see, my Latin con are able to tear through his men pretty straightforward. It's a very good infantry. It's definitely on par with like feudal knights, chivalric knights. It's very, very good infantry indeed. I rather like it, and it's good cavalry too. Actually, it's better charging cavalry than the cataphractoi, which is more melee cavalry. I tend to prefer the Latin con though, because I find it does a better all-round job than the cataphractoi. So it's why I don't tend to use a cataphractoi. I tend to use Latin con Alum light cav when I use Byzantines, because they're just better, and they're a good combo. So as you can see, Bob's army starts routing here, so I'm able to bring my rest of my infantry to come support my fight against his guys here. He pulls some of his mounted crossbowmen out, and I'm going to chase him around a bit, so I'm just going to double speed this. So apparently, Bob, your general has no honour, and you've had to leave the field in shame. No, it was a good game. It's just his build was not well suited to this map, and rushing tends to be the most effective tactic on medieval 2. That's not to say like defensive tactics can't work, but it's a very rush orientated game. So because of how powerful the cavalry can be. And the Byzantines are not too bad at it. They're not a power faction by any stretch, but they are a capable faction, and I would definitely sooner use them in the Papal States. Papal States are not weak though either, but Bob's build would have been quite useful in a siege or some place where you could fence off a choke point. Over here I'm just running off what's left of these mounted crossbowmen. If he could sort of fence off a choke point or something like that, then his build could be difficult. But as you can see, look at these dismounted Latin con, they're still in very, very good numbers. Just the Swiss Guard don't stand up to heavy infantry for very long, but they can certainly stall them. But the problem is with that whole strategy is that the cavalry power of the Papal States is not really that good when it comes to if you're going for that kind of tactics. It would work well if they had stronger cavalry. But they don't have bad cavalry, but they don't have real powerful cavalry either. So it kind of makes the Papal States, they're not weak, but they're not a power faction. And the Byzantine Empire is definitely better. But the Byzantines are not a power faction either. Swedes has destroyed this Venetian player, he's just chasing it off. I won't even really bother with that, I'm sure he won't mind, it's only an AI. It's actually been about, I haven't really played Medieval 2 for about 3 weeks for some reason, just sort of the way it has been. I haven't felt like it, but since this thing with gamespy, I'm going to have to do it. So there you go, I lost 304, but I got 814 kills and 171 captures. Bob got 358 kills there, so as you can see, the Latin con did very well. It's a very good cav. It's not real great cav, but it's not bad cav. It's good charge. It's got a good charge, and it's got capable melee fighting abilities, and it will outclass the cavalry used by the Papal States. However, it could have a bit of a challenge in the Hospitallers, but I got more aggressive motion with my cav than Bob did. The Varangian Guard, they surprisingly got quite a few kills, 65-50. That's a lot of kills for a two-hander unit, but they are probably the best two-hander unit in the game. Or one of the best two-hander units. Is probably, you could probably say the Forlorn Hope for the Holy Roman Empire is pretty damn good as well. But I would not recommend this ever, or for any faction, and it's different in the Kingdoms expansion, but never in the base game. Never use two-hander units as a mainline infantry. Use them as a flanking and support unit, which is why I did here, because that's where they do good. The Alien light cab, look at that, 54 kills. That's a very good light cab. Honestly, I always have great success with that unit. It's cheap and you can put some good upgrades on. It's very aggressive. It's hard hitting light cab. Don't let it grind out too long. Just a hit, push, charge, push. Come in and out. It's really, really good that way. A very good supporting unit. As you can see, they dismounted Latin column. They tore up the Swiss Guard. Very few losses. It's a very good infantry unit. And the Byzantine spears can be quite useful in support. And there's Swedes stuff there. But he fought the AI's cab that most of his work by the looks of it. But he won't mind that I missed that because it was only the AI. So good game to Paladin Bob there. And of course Swedes, I'm sure had Swedes been fighting at a CPU, he probably would have, I mean a real player, he probably would have won. So I'll link both their channels of course in the description there. But I hope you enjoyed this, guys. Be more Medieval 2 on the way. Hopefully we can use some sort of site like Game Ranger or something to keep playing this. I need to kind of learn more about it myself. So anyway, enough of that though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon next time.